Hi everyone, Al the Psych here. I have a video for you today. It might be in a couple of parts. I've entitled it Willpower. And I reference, for the most part, a book by the title of The Willpower Instinct. And this is by Kelly McGonigal. And this is from 2012. And I also use other sources like Stikiti and Baumeister, maybe some others, put my own 2 cents in. Anyway, let's go. I've just kind of listed some gems and some interesting information. So self-knowledge, especially of how we find ourselves in willpower trouble, is the foundation of self-control. Now, when you're facing temptation or flirting with procrastination, you need to remember that what you really want is to fit into your skinny jeans or get out of debt, etc. Otherwise, what's going to stop you from following your immediate desires? Okay. So self-control is a better predictor of academic success than intelligence. All right. Now, your prefrontal cortex, right there up in the front of your brain, right there, it helps you to do things that are harder. So it helps you get off the couch instead of staying on it. Okay, so you think JFK when he was saying something to the effect of, we choose to do things not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Something like that. I can't get that accent right, but I think you get the idea. It's your prefrontal cortex that's kind of giving you a little drive there. All right. It's kind of getting rid of or kind of tamping down impulses and things like that. But many things can inhibit the prefrontal cortex, such as sleep deprivation, being drunk, being distracted. Okay, so there's a lot of interplay going on here. Now, we can predict how we might act in a certain situation, such as when we go shopping at the mall or online even. And here I kind of think of what Stikiti does with hoarders, these compulsive shoppers. And what he'll do is he'll have them write down a list of things that, for example, that they already have, and things that maybe they need, things they don't need. So when they go to the mall, it's kind of like a actual therapy session. They go to the mall, and if the person who hoards is wanting to get something, it's like, well, wait a minute, let's look at this list here. Oh, you've already got 2 of these. You don't really need this, do you? Okay, you see? So he's kind of already prepared them, and that's a nice technique to use, whether you're a hoarder or not. I mean, just stepping back and questioning yourself. Do I already have one of these? Don't I already have 3 shirts that just look like this already? Yeah, so kind of preparing yourself, priming yourself for what you're going to be facing is very helpful. It's willpower, I guess. Now, neuroscientists have discovered that when you ask the brain to meditate, it gets better not just at meditating, but at a wide range of self-control skills, including attention, focus, stress management, impulse control, and self-awareness. Okay. Now, I've used breathing techniques as a way of dealing with control issues and willpower issues for years, and it's worked for me. And actually, the author goes on to reference breathing techniques as a form of meditation. Okay. Now, the author references slowing down when faced with an internal trigger, something that might crack your willpower. She refers to this as the pause and plan response. And this is very similar, actually, to what I used to do. There was a program that was called Stop and Think. And we used this when I was a school psychologist back in the 80s, 1980s. And we'd use it with the kids, like, for example, now, when you're going to go out to recess, I remember, stop and think if you find yourself, in a situation that might get you in trouble. And you kind of go over what the situation might be. This kid took cuts, or that that kid was cheating, or whatever you might endeavor on the playground. And actually this was still being used well into the 2010s and teens, because I was still working then, and we were still using things like that. The teachers were real good about priming the kids. You're going to go out there now, remember, stop and think, what situation has gotten you in trouble in the past. Okay, how are you going to deal with it this time? So you're really priming the child, or and for yourself. You got an issue with compulsive shopping, prime yourself before you go shopping. Okay. Now, here's an interesting point. Regular exercise seems to help build self-control in all aspects of one's lives. In the experiment that the author references, the participants started working out 1 time per week, and after 2 months, were working out 3 times a week. That's kind of interesting in and of itself. Now, willpower benefits seem to be immediate. So, 15 minutes on a treadmill reduces cravings, as seen when researchers try to tempt dieters with chocolate and smokers with cigarettes. So you can kind of get yourself out of that craving mood just with a few minutes of exercise. Okay, another way of developing some willpower. Now, a 2010 analysis of 10 different studies found that the biggest mood-boosting, stress-busting effects came from 5 minutes of exercise. 5-minute doses, 5 minutes, not hour-long sessions. So, you don't have to work out that long to get a real positive effect here. Okay. Whatever kind of exercise you do seems to work. So if you like walking, get walking. Yoga, weightlifting, gardening, housework, list goes on. And one more thing before I end this part. Being chronically sleep deprived affects your ability to deal with the cravings and temptation, and consequently can undermine your willpower. Okay, I'm gonna stop it there for part 1, and then I'll do another video for part 2, but that's it for now. Thanks.